Well, I was not expecting that today. Hey guys, Sean here, welcome to the F1 Word, and unbelievably, on Thursday the 6th of February, we've got our first look at a 2020 car and livery. Where's that come from? I thought the first one was the 11th, never mind. But Haas have surprised us all today with a look at their brand new VF20, and it is, as expected, a return to the old grey, black and red of, well, the Haas livery really, and they've gone away from the black and gold, and I've got to say, it's an evolution of that livery, and it looks absolutely beautiful. I love it. That's about as technical as I'm going to get today, but yeah, I love it. Fantastic looking car. Straight in with a disclaimer though, as I said last week when I did my pre-season look-ahead video, we've got to be careful when we get excited about these because the cars are not going to look as they do in these renders. This is just a render, and we'll get a proper look at what it's actually going to look like when we get to Barcelona a week on Wednesday. And I'll also throw the usual in here. You know by now I'm not that technically minded. I'm all about what looks good and what doesn't. So these launch videos are going to be less about what the left phalange does, whatever, and more about how good that car looks. A reaction video if you like. But I have linked to an article down below that Gary Anderson has done over on The Race, and that goes over all the details of the technical side of things, so definitely go check that one out. Just looking at the Haas that was used at the back end of the 2019 season versus these new renders, the first thing I've spotted is the roll hoop, that airbox if you like. Last year it was more of an oval, I guess you could say, whereas this year it looks more like last year's Ferrari version, probably unsurprisingly. Also looking to the rear of the car, last year, or the back end of last year, they were using vertical slots in the rear wing, whereas this year they are clearly more horizontal than anything. So there has definitely been some change there, that's quite obvious. Again, I'll say this a million times in these launch videos, we've got to be careful. These are just renders, and things will look different come Barcelona and Australia, but, you know, it's a change. Just sticking at the rear of the car for a moment though, and I'm not 100% sure on this, I've been looking at some side-by-sides, but I think that shark fin is a little bit wider, I guess, a little bit bigger. Now, I'm sure if that is the case, there is some very clever technical aerodynamic reason as to why it's gone that way, but it could also be as a result of the new regulation that says that the driver number has got to be more prominent in that area. But I'm sure that's a little bit wider. I might be wrong. Having a look at the side of the car, we've definitely got some nice little winglets, or I guess deflectors really, on the floor of the car there. They were definitely not there in Abu Dhabi. They were maybe tested in Abu Dhabi, but they weren't there for the race itself. So they are new for this year. And also, if we just have a look at the front of the car, you can see that they've got some funky stuff. That's very technical, Sean. Funky stuff going on with the mirrors. It's almost like a little wrap-around wing. Looks quite cool. There has also clearly been quite a bit of development around that front wing as well. It's quite similar to the one that they ran in Abu Dhabi, the spec they ran in Abu Dhabi, but it is definitely different to what was run in Brazil. They've also copied or incorporated the Ferrari, what I like to call nostrils, just around the nose there, the front wing elements. And if we put it side by side with a similar shot, or pretty much the same shot from last year's launch renders, you can really see the differences side by side. And yeah, I know that the car will have been developed over the course of 2019, so it's kind of a pointless side-by-side in some ways, but it is the clearest way to demonstrate the differences from this time last year. Overall, the front wing on that car is a lot closer to last year's Ferrari than the Haas that was launched last year, that's for sure. But that's no great surprise really, because they are still using those non-listed parts from Ferrari. They've still got that agreement with them. So things like suspension components and gearbox, for example. So again, there's no great surprise that they're taking inspiration from other areas of the Ferrari car. I mean, look, there are some absolutely brilliant people out there who can do a much better job at analysing the technical side of this car than I can. So if you want something more in-depth rather than a game of spot the difference, which is basically what this is, then definitely, like I say, have a read of that article down below from Gary Anderson. But also, if you're on Twitter, follow the likes of Craig Scarborough. He's absolutely awesome with stuff like this. Overall, though, no great surprises really, because this is always just going to be an evolution of last year's car in some respects. With, as we know, so many things changing for 2021, teams were never going to go mental with a completely different car for 2020. Certainly not teams like Haas who haven't got the budgets of the likes of Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull, for example. But it's a nice evolution, it's a tidy little car, and I am pleasantly surprised and really impressed with that livery. It looks very slick. Let's just hope that this year, fingers crossed for Haas, because they need it after what was a rotten 2019. Let's just hope that performs on track and they can get themselves back in the fight. That car can look as amazing as it wants and as tidy as it wants, but if it once again can't get the tyres to work, it's going to be a rough old year. We'll see though, long way to go until Australia. That is it though for this first 2020 launch or livery launch reaction video, and the first game, not the last game, of Spot the Difference as well. You can let me know, as always, your thoughts on that Haas in the comment section down below. Do you like the livery, or would you have preferred them to go a little bit more radical in their thinking? And I know the answer to this one, but is there anything on that car that I've not brought up yet that you've spotted? Let me know in the comment section down below. There'll be a few. Now, I will be back soon with more content as ever, probably next week now with the next launch, which will be Ferrari on Tuesday, but we'll see how things go. We might get another team surprise us tomorrow. Haas might have triggered something. Why not? Bring it on. And there will be a video for every single car launch next week, by the way. So that's 6 videos at least next week. And then it's 2 a week on Monday and then 3 testing streams from a week on Wednesday. So if you're interested in any of that, then make sure you have subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on any of that content. And you can, of course, follow me over on social media as well, with all of the links you need for that in the description down below. But as ever, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye-bye.